Hafide, thank you so much for joining us for Fiesta Friday. We've got another great show for you. Coming up, we're going to be talking about the Mercy Vocation and hear about the upcoming Museum Effect Conference. But first, I'm really excited to tell you about a new show that will begin airing on the stations of KUAM. It is called Tinaotao Marianas, the Peopling of the Marianas. The program is hosted by a woman many of you know and have welcomed into your homes over the years. Once upon a time, she hosted a radio talk show for several years. She's produced multiple documentaries. She's behind several projects, including Guam's first Chamorro English Bible, and now we are so honored and proud to have her air her monthly program on the stations of KUAM. Please welcome MARC Research Associate Ethnographer and Oral Historian, Rlene Steffy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I admire you and I respect everything, you know, you've done over the years, and I'm just so excited to see your show this Sunday. Before we get into the details, you know, we were talking about this earlier. I had no idea that peopling was a word. So tell me about the title and how you came up with it.
Well, peopling, many people who saw the original flyer, I only circulated it to a few initially, and they wrote back and said, did you make a mistake? What is peopling? and I called Rosa Palomo because I know peopling. And I called Rosa and I said, Rosa, she's my consultant, Chamorro consultant. And I said, Rosa, how do I say peopling in Chamorro? Because, you know, I suspected it was Tinaotao, but I always have to make sure. And she goes, Tinaotao? And I said, okay, how come people don't know what peopling means? And it's because we talk about individuality all the time. Taotao, taotao-tano. Right? But not Tinaotao Tano. So when you talk about Tinaotao Tano, you're talking about the inhabiting of a particular area. And so in this particular area, we're talking about Marianas. And I had to narrow it down to Marianas. I've collected regional stories of all of Chamorros in the region, Oceania. Chamorros who left Guam in the late 1800s with my great-great-grandparents. My great-grandparents, and moved down to Micronesia. From Micronesia, moved to PNG, from PNG to Australia. So there's a diaspora of Chamorro, and then of course after the war to the United States and beyond. So I got it. I still can't tell you how it happened, how that happened, except to say that when I was a talk show host at KFT7, I know. They asked me, people listen to me interviewing people, and I really got pretty good at that, and I enjoyed it. I loved to listen to stories. And they said, would you collect stories of Menengan March survivors? And I said no, because I didn't want the baggage. It's painful to collect that, you know. But Joshua Tenori was very persistent, and former First Lady Jerry Gutierrez, and Aunt, do it, you know, you can do this. And so I dove into it. And when I dive into something, Sabrina, I don't know to come up for air, you know. And so it hit me really hard. And after 30 days of, you know, working 4 or 5 times a week and interviewing 3-4 people a day, which is really difficult to do, I burnt out. And I was having nightmares that wouldn't go away. It was very difficult to sleep. So I called my girlfriend, Pat Timanglo, psychologist, and I said, Pat, I'm suffering from trauma. And she said, how quickly can you put it down? And I said, quickly? She goes, put it down, work on something else. And so I found the recipe to work on the continuing benefit of collecting World War II survivor stories, which are very traumatic, and continuing to collect other stories. And that's how this thing came about. So when you were egging on about we need local content on KUAM, I think that you're right. I think that the people of Guam and our visitors and those of our people who are away from Guam, I think they're hungry for this kind of material. And so Maria and I have been talking for 2 years. It's like, when is this going to happen? And I said, don't give up on me. I need to understand what it's going to be, how to present this, and then what that work's going to be. So I have a team of 3 editors. Our main editor for Tinaotao Marianas is Fresi Taidagui. She was the main editor for the Joseph Flores documentary and did a fantastic job. Recently, because of this whole development, I have been in touch with the woman, Frances Powell, who was responsible or is responsible for my being in Mass Comm. And she was my my sponsor, or what do they call it? teacher in high school in journalism, and she said, "This is your field. You've got to do this." I don't think she knew what she meant by that, and I had no idea where I was going to go with it. But I started here at KOAM, and now I'll be 59 this year, and I'm going to have a show at KOAM.
And speaking of your show, take us through the first episode.
The first episode will feature the arrival of Magellan, and on the 6th of this month, it was 493 years ago to the day, on the 6th, that Magellan passed this island, and the encounter. So we have Robert Rogers, who's the author of Destiny's Landfall. I interviewed him before he left. We have Carlos Madrid, who is a Spanish scholar and author himself. We have Omaira Bruno Perry, another Spanish scholar at MARC. By the way, Carlos and Omaira are both at MARC. And Larry Cunningham, who taught history at the University of Guam. And then we have the president, Robert Underwood, and Annie Hattori. And so we are going to feature the importance, what really happened when Magellan came through here. Right. You know, happenstance, accident, whatever, it impacted the people of Guam and the rest of the Marianas. Yeah. Well, so that's first episode.
All right, well, thank you so much. You can watch Tinaotao Marianas, the Peopling of the Marianas, this Sunday, 6:30 p.m. on TV8, with encore broadcasts on Monday at 10:30 p.m. on Local 2, Wednesdays 4 p.m. on TV8, Saturdays at 5:30 p.m. on TV11. Again, it is a show that you do not want to miss.
And it will repeat 4 times a week for the rest of the month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, stay tuned. We're back with more news and a little extra after this.
This program is